Hello and welcome back to Aiphie Williams Fashion. So today, away from pattern making and sewing tutorials, fascinators and turban tutorial, we're going to be making a satin bonnet. A very nice bonnet that I'll be using this beautiful fabrics, my satin and my African print fabric to make, as you can see here. Satin bonnet is very nice for your hair, it prevents tangling and all that. So let's get started. So you need a satin. You can use any color you like. You can even use satin and satin instead of satin and African print or Ankara fabric. So firstly, you fold into two and you fold again, as I'm doing like this. So you now have two folded parts into two, that is four folded into four. So on one end, from the folded edge, that end there, the tip there, you're going to place your tape rule. I'm using 12 inches plus half-inch seam allowance. You can use whatever you like. You can go higher or lower. So I'm going to mark that round from one end to the other. So I'll just do that slowly. Some people use freehand, they just guess the circle and make it, but I like to be precise. So I am going to do this slowly from one end to the other. So great, this is it. So I'm going to trace that out like this, so it will help me while I'm cutting to cut the perfect circle. So I'm going to cut now. So great, now I'm going to open it up so you see how perfect the circle is. If you follow this method, you're going to get a very clean circle without rough edges. So I went ahead and I repeated the same thing on my African print fabric, and now I'm going to show you how that looks too. So now you place your African print fabric with the right side facing up, and you're going to lay your satin fabric on top of your African print fabric like this. So you just smoothen it out and make sure it's facing downwards. That is, the right side is facing downwards. So I'm going to lay that out so the edges are meeting properly and smoothly. Then you're going to use your pin and pin all around it like this. You're going to pin all around so it doesn't move while you're sewing, and you're going to sew. But before that, you just pick up a random part of your edge, and you're going to mark out 2 inches or 3 inches. 2 inches might be too small for you, so I would like you to use 3 inches, even though I used 2 inches. So you just mark that out so that when you're sewing, you take note of it. So you're going to sew from this side and you're going to stop when you get here. So I'll quickly take mine now to the sewing machine and I'll sew. So here's the finished work. I've sewn it and I also ironed it. So there's the right side, the fabric side. So again, I'm going to look for this opening and I'm going to mark from the beginning to the end like this, so I can know where to stop and start my sewing, or rather start and stop my sewing. So I'm going to cut out a fabric around my round head measurement with an elastic. So this elastic that I'm using is actually 1/2 inch. I like it because it makes your the edge of your satin look bold. So for this now, we're going to go and sew to the sewing machine. You're going to sew 1 inch inwards. You can sew 3/4, but 1 inch will be perfect since I'm using a 1/2 inch elastic. So you see, I'll just sew 1 inch around to the other end where the mark is here. So here it is. I'm done with sewing it. It doesn't look too smooth because I use satin, so I'll just iron it out. So don't worry, it will come up together. You see how beautiful it looks. Just iron and make it smooth. Make sure you iron the edges very nicely, like I'm doing all around, because you like that you ironed it at the end. So just try. So you do this smoothly like this. Good. So now I'll just use my office pin, safety pin, sorry, and I'll insert my elastic through that opening all the way round to the other end. So I'll just move like this. So make sure the other end of the elastic doesn't go in, so you should be conscious of it as you move your pin through. So when you get to the other end, you unhook your pin, keep it at one end, and you're going to use your pin, and you're going to hold it firmly. Then you take to your sewing machine and sew. So I've done that, I've stitched it, and I'll pull that in and take it back to my sewing machine, and I'm going to close up this opening with a straight stitch, and I'll tuck this excess fabric in and close up this part too. So this is it. This is the satin part and this is the fabric part. I hope you like it. Go try it out.